What's going on, you guys? Dark Saint here again with another video talking to you guys about The Division. In this video, we are going to be going over the update 1.2 patch notes. They have finally been announced. We have a full list of them, and in this video, we're going to go over all of them and check them out. So let's not waste any more time. Let's start out. We have a new incursion called Clear Sky coming. Clear Sky is a new incursion mission available in Columbus Circle. You must be at least level 30. The encounter is balanced for teams of 4 players outfitted with high level gear. Hard mode is available on May 24th when the update releases. However, challenge mode will be made available a week after update 1.2 launches. So you won't be able to do challenge mode right away. It will be coming out a week after. They did say it would be coming out on a reset, so I'm assuming that will actually be Monday rather than Tuesday, but we will have to wait and see once we get our hands on challenge mode. We also have new gear sets coming out. We have 4 new gear sets. We already know about these. I've already done a pretty in-depth video, which I will leave in the link in the description box below, going over all 4 of them. However, I will name them off here. You have the Final Measure, the Hunter's Faith, the Lone Star, and the Predator's Mark. Each one has its own general build. However, in my opinion, the best ones are going to be between the Lone Star and the Predator's Mark. But we'll have to wait and see once we actually get our hands on them and we get to play around with them. Again, if you guys are wanting a little bit more in-depth on what these are, feel free to check the link in the description box below. It'll take you to a video that goes over each one individually and lets you guys know my opinion on each one of them. Next, we're going to look at the high value targets and search and destroy missions. At level 30, complete all encounters and side missions in a named area to get access to the search and destroy missions in the safe house. That means you have to do all the missions, all the encounters, everything in an area of the map. And after doing so, you will go to the blackboard that they have there and you will be able to do search and destroy missions. Receive a target intel as a reward for completing search and destroy missions. Bring that target intel to HVT officers at the base of operations to locate a high value targets. Complete daily and weekly high value target missions for in-game rewards. So it's a good way to level up by doing these. So basically, all that being said, what you do is you complete an area, everything's cleared out, you go to that area and you will find search and destroy missions. Upon completing these missions that you pick up from the blackboard at any of the safe houses, you complete them. They'll give you intel. You take that intel back to your base of operation. They will locate a high value target. You go and you eliminate that high value target. I believe that there's a time limit. If I understand it correctly, there will be some mechanics that make it to where you have to do it a little bit quicker than normal. However, after you complete the high value target, you will be rewarded with some really good loot. For those of you guys that are leveling up, before you take on the Dark Zone, you might want to go ahead and do these in order to level up. Now, there is high value targets and what I understand high risk targets as well. The high risks are a little bit harder, but they also give you better loot. So if you guys are wanting to level up outside the Dark Zone, this would be the way to do it. Next, we have hijack extractions. When a player attaches a bag to an extraction rope, another player now has the ability to sever that rope. Severing the rope will cause all extraction bags to fall onto the ground, scattering their contents as a public loot drop. Be careful, however, hijacking an extraction will instantly mark you as rogue. Sorry for that stutter there. Basically what it is you run up and you cut a rope. However, it takes about 10 seconds to cut that rope. Now, there is another patch note that is coming out with this to make it to where it's a little bit harder to just pop defense and cut the rope, and we'll go over that in just a minute. However, I will tell you that popping defense and cutting the rope might not actually work. Either way, you cut the rope, and it does like a piñata effect. Loot is scattered everywhere. It goes into bundles of 3, so everyone can see it. It's just huge blaring with lights everywhere. It's not just one big pile. There's going to be multiple piles depending on how much loot's there, so watch out for that. And as far as it marking you as rogue, you will only get 1 status bar of rogue. You only get 90 seconds, so if you can cut it, grab it, and get gone, you can get a lot of loot and get out scot-free. That being said, however, this is one of the things I have a little bit of an issue with, is let's say somebody goes up and they cut the rope and they grab the gear and they take off running and they run to another extraction and put it on there, or maybe they killed a guy and they put it on the rope. They killed a guy, put it on our extraction. If you cut the rope to your own extraction, you will still go rogue. So watch out for that. Even though you're cutting your own rope to get your buddy's stuff off the line, maybe he killed your buddy and tried to extract it real quick. If you cut that, you're still going to go rogue. So watch out for that. The next thing we're going to go over is going to be the Sealed Cache. Named and elite enemies in the Dark Zone can now drop sealed caches that contain mysterious items. Sealed caches need to be extracted before they can be opened, just like regular loot drops. There are 4 qualities of sealed cache: specialized, superior, high-end, and gear set. Basically what sealed caches are is they work like engrams from Destiny or any other mysterious item that you get from any other game. However, these contain more than just one item. Say you find a high-end sealed cache, you're guaranteed a high-end item. You don't know whether it's going to be a weapon or an armor piece or anything else. It could be any high-end item. However, once you open it, not only will you get a high-end item, but you will also get Dark Zone funds as well as some other hidden items. You might even get a bonus item that can be given to you upon opening it. Now, the bonus item is not guaranteed. However, there is a chance that you can get a second item. So let's say you open it and you get a weapon as well as a piece of armor or something like that. Those are still unique, so extracting them might still be something that you may want to consider. Player stash in Dark Zone checkpoints, finally. So stashes will be in your Dark Zone checkpoints. Checkpoint stashes eliminate the need for fast travel to your base of operation to collect your extraction loot. So basically you extract it, you run to a checkpoint to restock, you can go ahead, you can open your stash, you can pull your stuff out, you can sell it to the vendor if you want to sell it, you can deconstruct it if you want to deconstruct it, whatever you guys want to do. This is really great because it encourages extracting a lot more stuff a lot quicker. Just because you know, hey, I don't have to go all the way back to the base of operation, I can extract it, it'll be right there at the checkpoint when I reload, I'm ready to go. It encourages staying in the Dark Zone a little bit longer, which I'm a big fan of, so look forward to that. Next, we'll take a look at Isaac assignments. Isaac assignment is a new assignment type included in the map overview. The Isaac assignment will be available to players at level 30. Every week, a new Isaac assignment will be available to the players. The Isaac assignment will reward players with exclusive vanity items. These are items that make you look different, give you a different color, whatever it is that you might be looking for. So if you're looking to make your character look a little bit different than your counterpart, feel free to run these missions in order to collect those. I'm a big fan of this because I'm always looking for more content, and this gives a little bit more content to the game. Next, we have General. Added new high-end weapons to the game. Finally, we got our hands on some new high-end named weapons. This doesn't mean that there's going to be new weapon types. It just means that there are new weapons that are named, meaning weapons that are going to have some pretty cool colors like gold-plated, black-plated, things like that. First off, we have the Hungry Hog M60 light machine gun. That is the heavy-hitting machine gun with a bunch of rounds in it. Got a 100-round magazine starting out. You also have the Centurion M1 911 pistol, the Medved Sage A12 shotgun, which I believe might be fully automatic, the Historian M1A marksman rifle, as well as the Showstopper AA12 shotgun. However, the Showstopper will not be available right now. It will not be available until Update 1.3. Update 1.3 will be the Underground expansion. So look forward to that. I think the Sage A12 might be fully automatic, as it does sound like a AA12. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. The Historian high-end marksman rifle is now available, as well as added a 201 gear score bracket for higher level players. This is what is going into the Dark Zone to make the Dark Zone a little bit more of a challenge. Finally, moving on, we're going to look at game changes. These are the things that affect gameplay, UI, items, Dark Zone, etc. When a player is at max level, matchmaking for hard and challenge mode will now only seek players that are level 30, meaning that if you are looking for a matchmake on hard mode, you're just getting to level 30, you will not be matchmade with level 27, 28, 29, etc. You will only be matchmade with level 30. Armor damage mitigation cap has been increased to 75%. Improved weapon blind fire and overall handling while in cover. Reduces damage from level 34 NPCs using shotguns and snipers. I didn't really see a big problem with it. I thought it should be a challenge. However, there was enough people that complained about it for them to go ahead and push a nerf upon them. So shotguns and snipers shouldn't kill you nearly as quickly as they did. Gear score will now only take into account the equipped weapon with the highest gear score and discard the other 2 items. This will prevent players from equipping low quality weapons to voluntarily reduce their gear score. And what this was really an issue with was whenever Update 1.1 first launched, people would equip white weapons to their gear in order to lower their gear score, even though they still had a 204 weapon equipped, and just go through the low level Dark Zone, the level that required 0 to 160, and just mow on everybody and just be a really bad nuisance. Now, their first way of fixing this was to make it to where if you had one item equipped, you would automatically be buffed to the next Dark Zone area, and that became an issue. So now it will take into consideration whatever weapon you have equipped, meaning that even if you have white items in your second primary or your secondary sidearm, it will only take into account the highest weapon you have equipped. This will help prevent people from going into the lower level Dark Zones and rampaging, but at the same time allow players that are trying to stick in the tier 2 bracket actually be able to use some good weapons. I had an issue with this. Say, for example, you were in the tier 2 bracket and you equipped a 204 weapon that you found. It would automatically push you into the tier 3 bracket. It looks like they're finally moving away from that. I was worried about that because if you did get pushed into the tier 3 bracket and all you had was a simple 204 weapon, you would be completely hammered. There'd be no way for you to survive. So I am happy that they're finally looking at this and hopefully separating it a little bit more. I hope they have a few more ideas on how to separate this so that people aren't able to boost from one Dark Zone to the other, but we'll have to wait and see. Next, we have increased gear score requirement of the Falcon Lost to better represent the difficulty. Note the difficulty of the incursion has not changed. It is simply saying that before it would say the gear score requirement was only like 140 or something like that. It made it look easy, but if you didn't have 160, 180, really pushing closer to 200, you didn't stand a chance. So they have reset it. However, I still think the gear score recommendation for challenge mode should still be 200, and the gear score for hard mode I still say should be around 175 to 180. That's my opinion. I think that it is a hard challenge. It's not completely impossible with a bunch of 190s to run it, but it is very, very difficult, and I don't recommend trying to do this with a bunch of 180s. However, if you guys are looking for a challenge, go for it. Next, we're going to look at the UI. In the overview of the inventory, the health stat above stamina has been replaced with toughness. This is a combination of health and armor. The player's health pool will still be visible in the character page, and the stamina will still increase your overall health. Phoenix credit cap has been increased from 1,000 to 2,000. Shooting a player while they are interacting with an object will cause the timer to push back, such as opening a supply crate or hijacking an extraction. This is what I was saying before about trying to just run up, grab the rope, and cut it real quick. It does take a little bit of time, probably about 10 seconds from what I've heard, in order to cut the rope, and as long as somebody's shooting you, your timer will keep getting pushed back. So even if you pop defense to try and grab a supply crate or cut the rope, as long as somebody is hitting you, it will start pushing the time back, making it harder to claim those items. So watch out for that. Players now have a voice chat indicator in the game UI to see other players' VoIP works. Basically, that just means players will be able to, you will be able to tell if somebody hears you while you're talking. The special gear vendor has been renamed to the special equipment vendor. I don't know what the big deal about that was, but they did change the name of it. As for the items, the Sentry's Call 4-piece talent has now only applied to semi-automatic weapons such as pistols, shotguns, and marksman rifles, and the secondary bonus on performance mods has been significantly improved. Next thing we're going to talk about is the Dark Zone, and this is a very big change. The extraction departure time, once the helicopter has arrived, has been increased to 60 seconds. This used to be 30 seconds. Basically what that means is the helicopter is going to sit around a little bit longer. So you need to go ahead, get your stuff on the rope, and hang out for that minute. In my opinion, I disagree with it because I don't really want to stick around the helicopter my entire time in the Dark Zone. But at the same time, it is only an additional 30 seconds. It's not that big of a deal. You just want to make sure that you're defending your supplies and you know your supplies are safe. Don't just run it on the rope and take off, because you never know if there's going to be a ninja somewhere ready to run up and cut that rope. Now, as for the 60 seconds being beneficial, this will be beneficial to you guys that run stealth. If you run Scrambler on it and you're more of a quick person to run in there with high stamina, cut the rope, get the gear as quickly as you can, and get out as fast as you can, this will be for you guys that are trying to run a stealth build and trying to level up that way. This is leaning more towards you solo players that you find it difficult to kill the AIs. You can choose to do this. Just be careful because the AIs are going to be a little bit tougher regardless of which dark zone you're in, so watch out for that. And be careful to make sure you don't have a whole hornet's nest worth of players coming back after you, because as soon as you touch that rope, you're going rogue and they're going to know that you're there. Next, we're going to look at loot balancing. We have made a number of changes to the loot drop. Specific activities will now provide the rewards listed below. As for missions, hard mode boss drops. That's a guaranteed 163 high end. So if you kill a boss on hard mode, you're guaranteed a 163 high end item. Hard mode mission reward, again, you're guaranteed a 163 high end item. So you complete a mission on hard mode, you're guaranteed 2 163 high end items, one from the boss drop and one from the mission reward. As for the challenge mode, the boss drop will guarantee 2 182 high-end drops and either or a additional 182 high-end drop or a 214 gear set, as well as a chance of a fourth item dropping being a 191 gear set. As for the challenge mode mission reward, you're guaranteed a 182 high-end. So you could walk away with 3 182 high ends from the drop as well as 182 from completing the mission. You might walk away with 2 182s, 1 214, and a 191 and a 182 high end from completing a mission. It gives a little bit more incentive to run the missions in order to level up before you go and jump into the dark zone. Speaking of rewards, now we're going to take a look at the incursions, looking at Falcon Lost and Clear Sky. Now, in my opinion, I'm really glad that they increased what you were getting out of these, because if it would have stayed this way, there would have been no point in running the incursions. You simply would have went to the dark zone and found everything you needed there. However, they did up what you could get out of both hard mode and challenge mode, which makes them a little bit more viable and makes me want to play them that much more. Starting out with hard mode. If you can complete hard mode and kill the boss, you're guaranteed a 204 high-end weapon from a drop. That's a weapon, a 214 gear set item, and or a third item to drop of a 182 to 204 high-end quality or a 214 to 240 gear set. That being said, there is no 191 gear set. You will only find 214 to 240. As for the reward, you are guaranteed an additional 204 high-end weapon as well as a 214 gear set. So if you complete hard mode for the first time during the week, you're guaranteed 2 204 high-end weapons, as well as 2 214 gear sets, and a third item from the drop that can range anywhere from a 182 all the way up to a 240. So that's nice. Those of you guys that are running hard mode, keep running it. You're going to be rewarded a lot better than what you have been. As for you guys that run challenge mode, now you are guaranteed a 204 weapon and a guaranteed 240 gear set. Every single time you run it from the drop. This is not just as a reward. From the drop of killing the boss, you are guaranteed a 204 weapon and a 240 gear set, as well as a third item to drop of a 204 high-end or a 240 gear set. So you're guaranteed those. You will not find 182 or 214s here. It is all 204 or 240. As for the challenge mode, you again are guaranteed a 204 high-end weapon as well as a 240 gear set. So if it's your first time during the week running the challenge mode, you're guaranteed 2 high-end weapons and 2 240 gear sets. So look forward to that. As for the Dark Zone, added sealed caches as a new source for the loot in the Dark Zone, which we already talked about. Caches need to be extracted before they can be opened. Again, talked about. Caches can now come in any quality starting from specialized and contain equipment, that be weapons, gear, or mods, as well as Division Tech and Dark Zone credits. That being said, if you're in the Tier 3 Dark Zone, that's the bracket of 201 or above, you're guaranteed high-end Division Tech at all times, and a pretty good chunk of Dark Zone credits for those of you guys that are looking to get a little bit more Dark Zone funds without having to go rogue. This is a good way to do it. Something that is not mentioned here, though, is that there is still a chance of a bonus item. So let's say, for example, you get a weapon. You could get a second weapon. It's not guaranteed, but there is an additional bonus item added in to all the sealed caches. So this makes, collecting the sealed caches over everything else a little bit more of something that you guys want to do to get the most out of your loot. Bracket 0 to 160, as well as 161 to 200. Named bosses will now have a chance to drop high-end or gear set sealed caches. If it drops, it will replace the guaranteed high-end item. All that means is when you kill a boss, you're not guaranteed a high-end item anymore. Now you're guaranteed either a high-end item or a sealed cache of high-end or better quality. So you're still guaranteed for it to be yellow, but you're not guaranteed that it'll be an item per se. It could be one of these sealed caches. And sealed caches will in turn give you the item of that color. You're not going to open up a gold cache and it be purple or green or blue or anything like that. Enemy NPCs have a chance to drop superior sealed caches. That's, again, from bracket 0 to 160 and 161 to 200. So that's tier 1, tier 2. You can find superior sealed caches from elite NPCs. These are the enemies that are gold-plated but don't have a name. You can find superior sealed caches. As for the named NPCs, at level 30, that's DZ01 and 02, you're guaranteed a 163 high-end or a 191 gear sets. If you're in 03 or 04, it can be either a 163 or a 182 high-end or a 191 or a 214 gear set. As for the named NPCs in DZ05 and 06, you are guaranteed anything from 163 to a 204 high-end or a 191 to a 240 gear set. So this encourages those that are in Tier 1 and Tier 2 Dark Zone, that bracket being from 0 to 160 or 161 to 200, pushing towards DZ05 and 06 in order to find the best quality. Again, it is still random, but you can get a 240 gear set item even if you are in Tier 1 or Tier 2 Dark Zone. Added a new Dark Zone bracket. This is for those that are running in the 200 and above. This is Tier 3 bracket. This bracket contains very, very strong enemies, but they provide better rewards. My biggest concern with this bracket is going to have to be the flamethrowers, as they already do a lot of damage. All drops from the NPCs will start at superior quality. All division text drops will be high-end quality. Higher chances to drop sealed caches on elite and named NPCs. Supply drops will contain one high-end item of a gear score of 182 in DZ01 to 04. That's anything from Dark Zone 01 all the way to Dark Zone 04. You're guaranteed a high-end quality item of 182. 204 is guaranteed out of DZ05 and 06. Mind you, there's only two caches that drop, or two supply drops that drop in DZ05 and 06. But if you're able to claim them, you're guaranteed a 204 high-end item, plus a chance of a gear set item being 214 in DZ01 and 02, 214 or 240 in DZ03 and 04, and guaranteed 240 in DZ05 and 06. This does not mean you're guaranteed a 240 item. It just means that if you do get a gear set item out of a supply drop, it will be 240 if you're in DZ05 and 06. Next, we have named NPCs of level 32, that is DZ01 and 02, are guaranteed to drop 182 or 204 high-end, or a 214 or 240 gear set. Named NPCs at level 33, this is Dark Zone 03 or Dark Zone 04, will be guaranteed to drop either a 182 or 204 high-end, as well as a 214 to 240 gear set. Same thing as 01 and 02, however the enemies will be tougher, so I'm assuming it will push more towards the 204 and the 240. That being said, if you're running in the DZ level 34, that's DZ05 and 06, you're guaranteed a 204 or a 240 gear set. You will not find 182 or 163, no 214s, 191, none of that. You're guaranteed that if you kill a named NPC in 05 and 06, you're guaranteed a 204 or a 240 gear set item. So look forward to that. Next, we're going to look at the bug fixes. Now, I'm not going to go over all the bug fixes. I will leave them on the screen so you can read them yourself. However, not a lot of them are going to affect you directly, so I'm only going over the major ones that are really a big problem and something that, should be looked out for. And most of them are covered at the top of it. First off, we're going to fix the bug that affects players' talents would stack, and the talent would be repeatedly equipped and unequipped in order to boost it. Basically, this is those weapons that increase your damage when you used a skill. People would use a skill and then quickly swap their weapons as fast as they could in order to boost their DPS literally into the millions. Also fixed a bug with the Reckless, where the talent would not decrease the damage that you took. So Reckless has been patched. The perk Balanced has been patched as well, which if you don't know, Balance currently means that when you raise your weapon, you can consistently fire and there will be no weapon bloom, crosshair bloom at all. It will stay pretty much closed at all times. The way it's supposed to work is that's only supposed to happen while shouldering. So if you're running after a guy, he's trying to run away, and you raise your weapon, your crosshairs are going to be pretty wide, and it takes a second for them to come back together. With balanced on, it'll happen immediately. You raise your weapon, and your crosshairs are already tightly together. This is something that encourages quick scoping and stuff like that. Next, they fixed a talent with Brutal, where Brutal would multiply instead of being additive. Now, some people will say that this is a nerf to Brutal. However, it's not directly a nerf. The nerf you will experience on the snipers. Say, for example, you have a sniper with 170% headshot damage with the talent Brutal. What that would do is it would take the 170% and multiply it by 1.24 or 24%, pushing it well over into the 200% damage bracket rather than just being additive and taking it to 194 like it's supposed to. Again, that is a little bit of a nerf on snipers. You will see it there on marksman rifles and stuff like that. However, for other weapons such as SMGs and assault rifles that don't have any headshot damage, the multiplier was actually hurting you more than it was helping you. So say, for example, you only had 20% headshot damage and you multiply that by 1.24, you wouldn't get that big of an increase to headshot damage. You might only get 5 or 6%. Whereas now that it's added, rather than going from 20% headshot damage to 25 or 26, now you're going to go all the way up to 45% headshot damage. So it being additive is actually going to help with assault rifles, submachine guns, and other weapons like that. So don't be too upset with this, as it will help out most weapons. Next, we have fixed a bug with the talent 1 is none, where the weapon would jam and it wouldn't reload properly. That's been fixed. As for the last bug fix that I'm a little bit worried about is the bleed resistance could roll over 100% on some items. This was specifically towards the knee pads that could get 130% bleed resistance. Obviously, it doesn't make sense. If you have 100%, bleed effect doesn't hurt you at all. So I guess they're lowering that a little bit and fixing that to where it works properly as intended. That being said, however, you do want to run bleed resistance, especially with Predator's Mark being out there. I don't know exactly how Predator's Mark is going to work, as we haven't actually seen it in action and we haven't been able to use it yet. But the way the talent says that it works, and from what I've seen on the state of the game, they said that it's going to take all the damage you receive from 10 bullets, add it together, and hit you with it as bleed effect. So basically doubling the damage that you're doing. I think this is where PvP is going to be pushing. So make sure you have some bleed resistance on your knee pads, if nothing else, as the knee pads have the highest bleed resistance. Just watch out for that. Either way, you guys, I'm going to leave these on the screen so you guys can see all the bug fixes, as well as you PC-specific bug fixes. You guys will see those on screen as well. Either way, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. And that'll wrap it up. Either way, you guys, I will also leave a link in the description box below to where you guys can go and read these for yourselves. And that's all I got to say about it. So if you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys next time in the next video.